Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka. Good evening, this is the National News Broadcast coming to you live from the Rupavahini studios. Bringing you your stories for today is Uwin Hetiarachi and I'm Shara Mascarenhas. First, it's a look at the day's headlines. The President extends invitations to all political parties to join hands to resolve the national crisis by taking over ministerial portfolios. 4 new ministers were sworn in until the appointment of a full cabinet of ministers. President's Counsel UR De Silva states that the country should not go for an election at this moment. Relief to farmers who purchase chemical fertilizer. Agitations against cost of living in many parts of the island. 11 constituent parties of the government reiterate that it is the responsibility of all to show fault and to introduce an accurate program. Over 90 dead in boat tragedy in the Mediterranean Sea. On to the main story for today. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa invites all political parties to come forward to receive ministerial portfolios as a remedy to resolve the existing national crisis.
The Presidential Media Division has issued a special communique clarifying this question. It further points out that the present crisis situation has risen due to several economic and global issues. According to the report, the President has pointed out on the need to find solutions by Sri Lanka while remaining in the democratic framework. As a leading country in the democracies in Asia, he has also reiterated on the need for all to act in unity, considering it as a national requirement of the entire population on behalf of the future generations. Therefore, the President has called on all political parties representing the Parliament to deal with the national problem by taking over ministerial portfolios.
The President has appointed 4 ministers for the maintenance of a stable administration for orderly procedures in Parliament and in the country until the appointment of a new cabinet. 4 appointments have been made as it is necessary to fill the ministerial vacancies in the post of Foreign Affairs and Finance, as well as to appoint a leader of the House and the Chief Government Whip. Accordingly, the newly appointed Foreign Affairs Minister is Professor Gia Pires and the Minister of Education is Dinesh Gunawardena. Johnston Fernando has been appointed as the Minister of Highways and the President's Counsel Attorney-at-Law Ali Sabri as the Minister of Finance. The President has also requested all political parties representing Parliament to extend their contributions to overcome the existing national challenge facing the country. A stable cabinet is scheduled to be appointed later on the thorough discussion with the relevant political parties. The President has called upon all citizens to extend their support to win the economic challenges and to maintain a stable administration. Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the Cabinet will engage in discussions with the relevant groups in order to win the challenges facing the country until the appointment of a full cabinet of ministers. All parties representing Parliament will be convened for discussions on conducting of parliamentary affairs. He added that the Leader of the House, the Chief Government Whip and the Minister of Finance and Foreign Affairs have taken oaths today.
2 state ministers have resigned from their posts today. They have submitted their resignations to the President. Specialist physician Dr. Sudarshani Fernandapillai has resigned from the post of State Minister of Primary Health Services, Infectious Diseases and COVID Disease Control. State Minister of Batik, Handloom, Textiles and Local Garment Productions, Dayasiri Jayasekara, has also resigned from his post. Meanwhile, the Governor of Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Ajit Niwad Cabral, has also directed his letter of resignation to the President. He has stated this fact in his Twitter account.
A media release of the Presidential Media Division says that a meeting between the Salon Workers Congress and the President has taken place at the official residence of the President in Colombo today. According to the release, attention has been focused on discussions on setting up of a university for the upcountry as well as on several issues including daily wages, plantation, labour and appointment of teachers' assistants. Leader of the CWC, Senthil Thondaman, State Minister Jeevan Thondaman and Parliamentarian M. Rameshwaran were also reported to have attended the meeting. In other stories, a parliamentary group meeting of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was conducted under the leadership of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Parliamentarian Mahindananda Alutgamage says 132 MPs representing the SLPP have attended the meeting.
Minister of Agriculture says that the government has decided to provide relief to farmers to purchase chemical fertilizer. Ministry issuing communique in this regard states that the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has taken the decision by taking into consideration the requests presented by farmers in this connection. Under the existing agricultural policy of the present government, it has provided complete subsidies to the farmer community in providing organic fertilizer. The Ministry of Agriculture further says the payments will be made to farmers upon the presentation of bills pertaining to the purchasing of chemical fertilizer to the Department of Agrarian Services Development.
People in many parts of the island were engaged in protests against rising cost of living and also calling for political reforms today as well. An agitation was conducted with the participation of artists and civil activists near the Diatoyana in Battaramulla. People have expressed their objections to the leader of the Janaseta Peramuna, Venerable Battaramulla Sila Ratanathero, who attended the event. A protest was also conducted near the Nelum Pokuna Theatre in Colombo today. An agitation organised by social media activists was also conducted at the Independence Square premises in Colombo today. Youth in Kegol have also conducted an agitation today. Former parliamentarian Hirunika Premichandra was also engaged in a march across the Kegol town today. A conflicting situation has arisen between the groups of the former parliamentarian and the youth. Students of the Jaffna University were also engaged in a protest at the Jaffna town, calling for resolution of the crisis arisen in the country. A protest has also been organised in the Ampara town this afternoon. Another protest was held in Tangol town, and police has taken steps to disperse the crowd, which has attempted to damage public property. In other stories, 11 coalition parties of the government say that it is the responsibility of all to show faults and to introduce an accurate program of the action.
Party representatives made these remarks in a meeting in Colombo today. Parliamentarian Uday Gammampilla said that people should be given the opportunity to choose the government of their choice. He added that, however, this could not be done at a time when people are undergoing economic difficulties. When people spend their time in queues, they're not able to join queues to polling as well. The parliamentarian added that they require the moment as an interim government which continuously provide electricity, fuel, medicine, food and other essential items to people at a reasonable price. The interim government should be a short of duration. Thereafter, people could go for an election. The parliamentarian also said every party which is raising their voice is honest. They should unite and become a partners of a short-term, all-party interim government. This is the only way to rescue the country from the present situation. Only the opportunities are yearning for power at this moment.
ඔවුන් මේ හඬ නගන්නේ හදවතින් නම් ජනතාව මේ දුකෙන් මුදවන්න අපිට බලය දෙන්න බලය දුන්නොත් අපි කරලා පෙන්නන්නම් කියන අතිශයින්ම ආත්මාර්ථකාමී ජනතාව ගැන කැක්කුමක් නැති අයට පමණක් කියන්න පුළුවන් කතාවක්. මේ රටේ දේශපාලන ප්‍රවාහයේ කවුරු හරි ඉන්නවා නම් ජනතාව මේ විඳින වේදනාව දැනෙන ඒ නිසා කැක්කුමක් ඇති වෙන ඒ අය සියලු දෙනා අද එකතු වෙලා කෙටිකාලීන සර්වපාක්ෂික අන්තර්කාලීන ආණ්ඩුවේ කොටස්කරුවෝ වෙලා මේ රට මේ නරාවලෙන් ගොඩගන්න තමන් දන්න දෙයකින් දායක වෙ යුතුයි. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් මැතිවරණයක් කරා යන්න. මේ රට අරාජික වෙන්න දෙන්න බෑ. මේ රටේ පාලනයක්.
Parliamentarian Vimal Veerawansha said that the country is not allowed to be destabilized. He added that external opportunists are waiting to grab power in the event of ungovernable situation. They are waiting to make the moment to fulfill their needs. Therefore, the responsibilities of all recognized political parties is to set up an interim administration in place of the present inappropriate government. This is the only way to overcome the serious tragedy facing the country and to pave the way for a stable government. He further said that their responsibility is to make way for the people to create a government of their choice. The MP also said they are unable to remain only as critics. They added, therefore, they will be able to find fault as well as point out correct direction.
In other stories for you, President's Counsel UR De Silva reiterates that going for an election is not something that the country should do at this moment. He was expressing his opinion at a media briefing in Colombo today. President's Counsel UR De Silva said that some say that all 225 members should be expelled. He added that they are making such utterances due to ignorance. The problem of the people at present is facing power cuts for hours, which has resulted in losing hours of work. There is a shortage of fuel and food. Short-term solutions will have to be provided to alleviate these problems. The President's Council also said that Parliament will be reconvened tomorrow. The President has invited all parties to take ministerial portfolios on behalf of the country. However, there is a doubt whether the existing members are able to shoulder the enormous responsibilities. Most of the existing members are those who were in the failed administration of the past 5 years. Only the honest and intelligent people must come forward to resolve the issues. President's Counsel UR De Silva also said that there is another alternative for the President to defuse the crisis, that is to identify the able groups. Such persons should be appointed as appointed MPs. These professionals could be given ministerial posts in the provincial government. Thereafter, a situation would arise for the country to go to the polls. He also said that the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at this moment would destabilize the country. He also said that we must act according to the law and not according to the wishes of the individuals. The Free Arts Guild, in a media release, points out that in this crucial moment, the general public should express their opinions in a freely manner and should also act in an extremely intelligent, far-sighted manner.
The Guild has also expressed its profound regret over difficulties being experienced by the people and also on the present situation of the country. It further pointed out that in a crisis situation, there are groups within the society who strive to fulfill their petty objectives. It also reiterates that we should work towards a prosperous future by protecting our democratic freedoms. The Guild further points out we should not contribute to the recurrence of an unfortunate situation as in Black July of 1983. The Sri Lanka is a nation which has faced a brutal war in 30 years. It has also passed numerous eras of conflict and rebellion. Therefore, the Arts Guild says no room should be left for the inappropriate expression of feelings, while pinpointing out that the extremely reasonable aspirations of the people. The Guild calls upon entire Sri Lankans to line up with the democratic ramp for an emergence of a better tomorrow.
In other stories, the Department of Criminal Investigation is seeking public assistance for the arrest of 2 suspects who have caused damages to properties through unruly behavior in the Pangadiwata Road junction in Mirihana. Investigations are underway to arrest the suspects accused of setting fire to buses and other vehicles and causing further destruction to common properties. The police request to furnish any information pertaining to the suspects to the telephone numbers 071-859-1755 or 071-859-4929 or 0112-444-265. Meanwhile, the Office of Police Media spokesman says that rumours being propagated regarding the death of a suspect hospitalised upon arrest over the violent incident are fabricated. The office reiterates that deaths have not been reported of any suspect who were undergoing treatment under police custody.
The Public Utilities Commission says that permission has been granted for a 6.5-hour power cut tomorrow. A 4-hour power cut will come into effect in the zones of A, B, C, D, E and F from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Power cuts will be enforced in these zones once again from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., a duration of 2.5 hours. In the zones of G, H, I, J, K and L, a 4-hour power cut will be imposed from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. These zones will undergo another 2.5-hour power cut from 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. The P, Q, R and S zones will also be subjected to a 4-hour power cut from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Another 2.5-hour power cut will be enforced in these zones from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. For zones of T, U, V and W, the power cut will be enforced for a duration of 4 hours from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Another 2.5-hour power cut will come into effect in these zones from 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy, KDR Olga, says another ship carrying a stock of 40,000 metric tons of diesel is scheduled to arrive in the island tomorrow night. Steps have been taken to issue kerosene oil from filling stations in the Puttalam district. Our correspondents have reported that the fishermen in the area are arriving at the filling stations to fulfill their kerosene oil requirements for fishing purposes. Filling stations in Nepal town are also receiving diesel stocks. Vehicle queues to receive the fuel could be seen in the area. Distribution of litro gas to people in Bhagavantalawa has taken place today. The litro gas company was reported to have provided gas cylinders to their sales representatives in the area yesterday. Large number of residents were seen queuing up to receive their gas supplies.
A wild elephant which fell into a Z canal carrying water from Carson Reservoir was rescued yesterday after a 12-hour operation by the wildlife officials in Velikanda. It has been reported that 3 elephants coming from direction of Maitri Gama village in Velikanda has fallen into the Z canal. 2 of the beasts were able to come out of the waterway and to flee towards the Kalingavilla Proctorate. The elephant, which was unable to free by itself, was rescued by the wildlife officials and villagers and chased away to the Kalingavilla Protectorate forests.
Sundara Nuvarelia Salalihini Vasanthe program is enriched with more events this season. Many locations in Nuvarelia have been made more attractive for the festival. Extra high special highlight would add color to this year's Spring Festival would include the inclusion of ponies. The children are being accorded the opportunities for pony rides along with the Gregory Lake Bound. Enchanting boat safaris on the lake have been also organized.
The Department of Meteorology forecasts on the probability of having intermittent thunder showers in several districts in the island today as well. Therefore, the department requests the general public to take necessary precautions to prevent occurrences of accidents due to lightning. The Met Department in its weather report says that there is a high tendency of occurrence of thunder showers and lightning in the western, central, Sabaragamuwa, north central, southern and northwestern provinces, as well as in certain locations in the Vaunia, Manna and Badulla districts. Fairly strong provisional winds may accompany showers. In some areas, rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters is anticipated. In order to be protected from lightning accidents, it is necessary to stay inside a protected building or in a covered vehicle. Residents should not stay outdoors or under trees during the time of thunder and lightning. The Met Department report also requests the people to refrain from languishing in open spaces such as paddy fields, tea estates, playgrounds, reservoirs during lightning periods. Stay with us. We'll be back with updates from Ukraine after this break. Welcome back to the news.
Now on to a Russian update. Russia calls for a special UN Security Council meeting to Monday to address claims that Russian forces committed atrocities against Ukrainian civilians in Bucha, a town outside Kyiv. Ukraine and Western leaders have erupted in outrage over the discovery of mass graves and hundreds of dead people in Bucha, a small outpost town outside in the northwest of Kyiv. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky directly blamed Russia for the killings of civilians. Russia denied the accusations and said Kyiv staged footage of corpses. UN authorities have yet to publicly state whether a Security Council emergency meeting will take place today. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for the independent investigation in this regard. Meantime, Russia has indicated its offensive will not be directed on Ukrainians in the east, but continue to strike cities in other parts of the country. In a fight now on its 40th day, which has left thousands dead and forces more than 4 million to flee, the Ukrainian military has said the forces have retaken some towns in the Chechnya region and humanitarian aid is being delivered. The United Nations Human Rights Office has said 3,455 civilian casualties have been reported since the beginning of the war.
Nearly 100 people have died in international waters after setting off from Libya in an overcrowded boat, international organizations have said. The commercial tanker had rescued 4 people from a life raft in the Mediterranean early Saturday morning. The Doctors Without Borders charity said initial contact with the commercial ship has indicated that the survivors reported being at sea for at least 4 days on a boat with nearly 100 people on board. Libya has become a key departure point, African and Asian migrants making desperate attempts to reach Europe. Migrants often endure horrific conditions in Libya before embarking northwards on overcrowded, often unseaworthy vessels that frequently sink or get into trouble. The European Union has faced criticism for its close cooperation with the Libyan Coast Guard to cut number of migrants arriving on European shores. Prior to the latest tragedy, the UN's International Organization for Migration had recorded 367 deaths in the Mediterranean so far.
EU lawmakers wanted for measures that would expand anti-money laundering requirements and call for crypto firms to reveal their personal information of their customers. EU lawmakers have voted in favor of measuring requiring cryptocurrency companies to collect and share data that would bar anonymous transactions. 2 EU parliamentary committees, the Committee on Economic and Monetary Affairs and the Committee on Civil Liberties, voted on to expand anti-money laundering requirements that apply to the conventional payments over $1,115 to crypto sectors. The plan will also remove the flow for crypto payments. The payers and recipients of even small crypto transactions would need to be identified, including those with unhosted or self-hosted wallets.
Well, some good news. India and Nepal have restored passenger rail services. The 2 neighboring countries have also finalized agreements on the supply of petroleum products and released a joint vision statement on power sector cooperation. India and Nepal have restored passenger rail services between them at Kathmandu is increasingly wooed by China. Restoration of the rail link between the two neighbouring countries is the first since services were halted for upgrades in 2014. Nepal has traditionally done a balancing act between New Delhi and Beijing, but analysts believe that Indian influence over Kathmandu has been dwindling as China pours heavy investment into the landlocked Himalayan country. Nepal's Prime Minister made India its first foreign destination since he returned to power last year. Israel forces killed 3 Palestinians in occupied West Bank who are believed to be religious extremists, as reported by the foreign media.
Now, the bloodshed comes after amid heightened tensions ahead of the start of the holy Muslim month of Ramadan that has seen violence spiral in Israel and the occupied West Bank. 3 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces near the occupied West Bank city of Jenin. Israel's domestic intelligence service Shin Bet said in a statement that 4 Israeli soldiers were also injured, including 1 seriously. Shin Bet said that Israeli forces responded to fire by 3 Palestinians during an operation to arrest them, leading to their death. The statement accused the 3 of carrying out recent shooting attack in the city of Tukram and harboring plans to carry out more attacks in the near future. Shin Bet said weapons and hand grenades were allegedly found in their car. Pakistan Army Chief highlights Pakistan's long history of excellent and strategic relationship with the United States as PM Imran Khan accuses Washington of backing a no-confidence move to remove him from office.
Army Chief of Pakistan General Qamar Javed Bajwa has said that Pakistan seeks to expand its relationship with Washington a day after Islamabad protested to the U.S. Embassy over alleged interference in its internal affairs. General Javed Bajwa further said that Pakistan share a long history of excellent and strategic relationship with the United States, which remains Pakistan's largest export market, also highlighting close diplomatic and business relationships with longtime ally China. General Javed Bajwa said Pakistan seeks to expand and broaden ties with both China and the United States without impacting relations with the other.
Hollywood actor Will Smith has resigned from the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences, saying on Friday that him slapping a presenter, Chris Rock, on stage at this year's Oscar ceremony was shocking, painful and inexcusable. The actor, only the 5th black man to win the Best Actor Oscars, faces disciplinary action after slapping comedian Chris Rock on stage. Smith said in a statement that he betrayed the trust of the Academy, deprived the other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work, and he is heartbroken. Smith left audiences stunned last week Oscars as he strode up to the stage and slaps Rock across the face after the comic made a joke about his wife's closely cropped head. The actor then returned to his seat but shouted obscenities at the shocked comedian. It was unclear whether Rock was aware that Pinkett Smith has alopecia, a condition that causes hair loss, when he made the reference to the 1997 film G.I. Jane, in which the actress Demi Moore shaved her head. Half an hour after the astonishing attack, Smith was awarded the Best Actor Oscar for his role in the sports biopic King Richard and made a tearful speech as he received the statuette.
On your sports news tonight, we're going to cross over on the Indian Premier League. Now, the Punjab Kings emerge victorious, playing against Chennai Super Kings.
Yes, sir. The match was played in Mumbai. The Punjab team, batting first, scored 180 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in 20 overs. Liam Livingstone has scored 60 runs, facing 32 deliveries, which included 5 boundaries and 5 sixes. Shekhar Dhawan also scored 33. The inter-club rugby tournament match, the Air Force has beaten the Army 27-20. The match was played at Havelock Grounds, an even contested encounter since the beginning. The Air Force team was leading 15-8 at the end of the first half of the game. In the second half, the Airmen added 12 more points to their tally. The Army also collected 12 points. The tournament was organised by the Sri Lankan Rugby Association. That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.